to share with you some of my life experience. Back when I was about your age, I started to sail. We used to call it hobbies at school. We didn't have, we had competitive sport on weekends, but we also had one afternoon a week where we could go off and learn something new. And something that I started to do then was learn to sail. So we used to sail 16-foot catamarans just off the beach. So I did that for a number of years. Then university got in the way, life got in the way, got married, had kids, and I didn't sail for a number of years. About 13 years ago, I decided, right, that's it, I'm going to get back into doing something that I really, really love. So I started actually racing 18-foot off the beach catamarans. They're just two people on board. You have a mainsail, a jib, and occasionally a spinnaker as well, depending on the style of boat that you're on. So in that, I ended up contesting and winning 3 state titles in my early 30s, and then I also became third 3 times in the national titles, and in a fleet in the top 20 of the fleet, I was the only female crew member. And then I went on to contest the world titles as well. We were in 7th place at the time when the person who eventually came second in the world titles actually wiped us out and took the front half of the boat off, and we unfortunately sank. So from there I moved into ocean yacht racing, so sailing 45 to 55 foot boats, so that's about 13 or 14 metres in length. Ocean yacht racing just takes up all sorts of sides of your development. So it's very physical, it's a psychological challenge, it's very social, it's a spiritual journey, and it can be very emotional too, especially when you get to the end. Okay, any rugby players here? Can I grab you, darling? Come on down. Yeah. What's your name? Reese. All right, Reese. Tell me what gear you wear when you go to play rugby.
Mouth guard.
A mouth guard?
Sometimes headgear.
Headgear?
Body gear.
And some boots?
Yeah, boots.
And how long do you run around for playing rugby?
80 minutes.
80 minutes. A whole 80 minutes. Do you get a drink break? Orange at half time?
Yeah.
Yeah? Beauty. I'm going to give you some of the gear that I wear. Okay? This would be a typical ocean yacht race. My boots,
I'll rub it on together.
so that I don't lose them when I'm travelling. We always wear our thermals. Okay, so I'll have some lovely woolen pants, and that's to stop chafing. When you're sitting in salt water for 6, 7, 8 days at a time, you're going to get pretty chafed if you don't have something to draw that salt away from your skin. It's also going to keep you warm. You're going to have some quick dry shorts on so that you don't look daggy in your thermals. Okay, so they go over the top. You're going to have your crew shirt so that everyone knows which team you're from, and if you go over the side, it easily identifies you when your body washes up on the beach as well. You always have your set of wet weather pants on, and that actually, because of all of the chafing that you get on the fiberglass, it's reinforced and it helps you to slip over the boat. So when you're going through tacks really quickly, you can jump up and slide down to the other side. So that goes on. We have our wet weather jacket, which has got all sorts of beautiful things. Again, if you go over the side, the first thing you do is pop your hood up so that you've got some reflection on, so the helicopters can actually find you while you're out at sea. It's got great little pockets for putting your chocky bars and things like that in. You've got to have your gloves, otherwise you're going to rip your hands to pieces. The smell of burning flesh is quite extraordinary. Night time, you've got to have your headlamp so that you can turn your red light on and see what's going on at sea. This one is really important. This is your harness. and your life jacket, so that when you go over the side, again, you can pull the little tab. This is your tether. This ties you onto the boat. Depending on the conditions and depending on the type of race that you're doing, you actually might need 2 of those so that you can tether on and tether off. Tether on this side, race over to that side, tether on again, and then untether. Why are you putting it down?
I'm just trying to fix stuff. It's easier to hold.
So difficult to hold. For how many minutes have we been doing it?
Oh no, it's just slipping.
Oh, okay. So there's your other tether. If you're in really cold weather, of course you'll want a beanie to stop you losing your body heat because you will die fairly quickly should you not have that on. And of course, for the good days when it's not cold, you've got to have your cap. So that's what we would actually put on for any overnight race. That's what we would gear up with and spend. I lived in that for 7 days and 7 nights at one point. Imagine putting all of that on, going to the toilet, eating a meal, sleeping. It's really quite tricky. I want you to keep holding it for me, all right? Just to see how your arms are going by the end. All right, beautiful little quote here. A ship in a harbour is safe, but that's not what ships are built for. Sailing is just the most awesome experience. Getting out on the ocean, open ocean, and having a look at the world outside there. Next thing, some of the most amazing experiences I've had. Whale song. I did a race from Brisbane to Keppel Island one year. It was only about 3 days, I think. In that time, we were right out to sea. It was during whale migration period, so we were just watching whales. It was just like, oh gosh, you know, there's another one of the little critters. At one point, a huge big male whale came directly towards us as we were sailing forward, and he came and went straight under the boat, and as he went under, he turned and looked up at us as if to say, you know, what are you doing up there? That looks like a whole lot of fun. A truly amazing experience. We actually thought we were going to collide with that whale, which would have sunk the boat because it was so big. It was bigger than our boat. Another amazing experience that I had with whales was one night during the Brisbane to Gladstone race. I went off watch downstairs having my my sleep period. You're either on watch or you're off watch. When you're on watch, you're racing and moving around. When you're off watch, you actually have to sleep because it's so physically exhausting wearing all of that gear that your body has to stop. So I was lying down on the floor in the bottom of the boat, no beds, no pillows, nothing like that, just essentially walk down, lie down, sleep, and I could hear this really bizarre sound, and I thought, what is that? And it was actually a mother whale and a baby whale on opposite sides of the boat, and they were talking to each other, and we could hear their whale song coming through the hull of the boat. It still gives me goosebumps to think about that amazing experience. Next one, we love this one. On the rail. On the rail means when you're racing, you have to actually sit on the side of the yacht and keep your weight over the side, so you're hanging over the wires, to keep the boat semi-upright. So depending on what the conditions are like will depend on whether or not you can get off the rail to go and do things like going to the toilet or whatever. One particular race that I did was in the weather pattern that led into the 2011 floods. So it essentially, a storm built very quickly, and for 8 hours we battled from the tip of Moreton Island down to the Gold Coast. Because that weather pattern came up so quickly, we couldn't actually get off the rail to go and do anything. We couldn't eat, we couldn't go to the toilet, we couldn't even get water. So we just had to sit up there for the entire day. One of my mates was incredibly seasick during that time. He turned to me to tell me that he was going to be sick. Instead of telling me, he just was sick all over me. Yes, there was lumps of carrot in it. vomit all through my hair, in my ears, down through my clothing, and I sat like that for about 6 hours. But it was okay. The waves were washing up and over the boat and just completely and totally drenching us with every single wave. So everything ended up, now I still finding carrot for days. It was a load of fun. Next one, more than a game of rugby. I've never played a game of rugby, so I've got no idea what it's like. However, what we do when we go racing, it's not just for an hour, it's not just for a day. Some of the races that we do can be a week long, they can be a month long. For some, the Volvo Ocean races, they go around the world and it'll take them several months to do that. And you're living in those sorts of conditions the entire time. It's not like you can come off the oval and sit and have a rest for 5 minutes, because your rest break is still about keeping yourself upright and looking after yourself. The boat is constantly at a heel, so you are always having to hold yourself and position yourself, so your body actually never gets rest. Mr. Donnelly talked about losing a kilo in the week, that when he really focused on what he was doing with his eating, his exercise. One of the races that I did from Brisbane to Noumea, I actually lost 8 kilos just in that week, because of the stresses and strains on your body. Okay, so this is at the conclusion of that particular race. So we went for 7 days and 7 nights. We started off on a beautiful day like